Bello Abubakar Masaba Bitta, also known as Muhammadu Bello Masaba, was a Nigerian man who stirred up controversy in his hometown of Bitta, Niger State. He married 120 wives, divorced 10, and fathered 203 children. At the time of his death, some of his wives were believed to be pregnant. Islam limits the number of wives a Muslim man can have to 4 wives, mandating they must be all treated equally. However, due to his extensive polygamy, and for being outspoken, he was uncharged under Sharia law and sent to prison. Bello boasted, "If God permits me, I will marry more than 86 wives. A normal human being could not marry 86, but I can only by the grace of God," a defiant Bello Masaba told the Christian Science Monitor during a recent prison interview. "I married 86 women and there is peace in the house. If there is peace, how can this be wrong?" Bello had worked as a teacher and imam during his life. He lived with his family in an entire apartment block. Bello claims that he never pursued his wives, and claims that they sought him out due to his reputation as a healer. Many of his wives were much younger than he was, and a few were younger than some of his elder children. In interviews with Al Jazeera English, his wives claimed that he was a good husband and father. Although the Quran states that a man may marry 4 wives, Bello claimed that when the Quran set a law, it must also set a punishment for offenders, and no punishment was given for this particular offense. After the death pronouncement on Masaba by an Islamic group, Jama'atu Nasiru el-Islam, JNI, the Bitta Emirate Council and an assembly of Islamic leaders invited him, Masaba, for interrogation. At the end of their deliberations in Etsu Noop's palace Bitta, a verdict was read out by the Etsu Noop of Bitta himself, Alhaji Yahya Abubakar, that Masaba should divorce 82 out of the 86 wives within 48 hours or leave the entire Noop kingdom, as his safety could not be guaranteed within the kingdom. At the expiration of the ultimatum, Pa Masaba refused to divorce any of his wives and denied ever promising to do so. Despite this, Bello was arrested in late 2008 by Islamic authorities and tried before a Sharia court. Before his Tlath Sharia court, police in Niger State gave the super polygamist of Bitta a clean bill, as the state command declared that nothing incriminating was found in the house of the controversial husband of 86 wives. The leader of the police team that arrested the Islamic cleric in Bitta in the wee hours of that penultimate Monday before the 27th of September 2008, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. John Olayemi declared, "We found nothing incriminating in his house. There was no knife, no pistol or skull in his house when we went to invite him to the headquarters for a chat." But when asked why the police went ahead to arrest Masaba, the police boss explained that the command only acted on an instrument of Upper Sharia Court. Though, dozens of protesters gathered to protest against his actions, and claimed that if he were released, they would not allow him to return to his home. Meanwhile, his wives announced their outrage at his arrest. At his trial, he was asked to divorce 82 of his wives. Due to his persistent refusal to do so, he was sentenced to death, but the sentence was lifted when he agreed to the mass divorce in early September 2008. However, he still faced eviction from his home. The case was reported throughout Nigeria and around the world, and angered many Nigerian Muslims. Following the case, Bello advised other men not to follow his example.